We're here with Paul and Ewelina, the founders of Sustainable Salons, and we're going to be doing a quick-fire question round. Ooh. Are you ready, Paul, Ewelina?
Born ready.
All right, question one. Pineapple on pizza, hell yeah or hell no?
Hell yeah.
Manea. As an Italian, don't even dare put that pineapple on my pizza. You put that question in there on purpose.
Number two, favorite snack?
Favorite snack.
Sushi.
Is that a snack?
It's everything to me.
Snack, it's meal,
It's my
breakfast.
everything.
A Tony Chocolonely.
Yeah.
Tony's chocolate. What colour?
The green one.
The green hazel.
Yeah. I see
Yeah.
us sneaking into the kitchen
Good.
at night. I'm like, yeah, I know where you're going.
Question number three, go-to comfort movie?
Oh, this is embarrassing.
Easy for you.
Yeah, what's mine?
Yours would be what's his name? Eddie Murphy.
Coming to America.
Coming to America.
Paul, what's yours?
Yeah, comfort movie. I'm a YouTube guy, so it's not movie for me. Comfort is probably YouTube,
Yeah.
and definitely a paid subscription, so I don't have to deal with the commercials. I can just watch it endlessly.
Perfect. This one I'm going to do a little bit of a switch up, and you're going to answer for each other. So
Ooh.
question four, favorite way to relax? Paul, what do you think is Ewelina's favorite way to relax?
It's definitely rom-coms on Netflix.
Surfing?
Done.
Okay, was Paul correct? Rom-coms on Netflix?
Yes.
And was Ewelina correct?
100%.
Oh, nailed it. Very good. And then finally, dream holiday destination. Paul, what's your dream holiday destination?
Oh, so this one's for me?
That
not
one's for
answer-
you.
Dream holiday destination. Oh, that's a good one. I've travelled a lot, so I don't know. I like a lot of places, but Queenstown. Snowboarding.
Queenstown.
Yeah, same.
You both have the same dream holiday destination.
Yeah.
We've been together
we love that
18 years.
place.
Jeez, yeah, you better have some things in
Easy.
common.
It's definitely not sushi though, right? That's definitely
We'll
not
eat
good.
sushi there. Don't worry. Don't worry. You come off the mountain. Sushi time.
Hope it's been fun learning a little bit more about the humans behind Sustainable Salons. Paul and Ewelina, the founders. So let's actually get into the Sustainable Salons program. How does Sustainable Salons work?
It's a really good question. Look, it's not. We had to invent something that never existed, right? So we had to literally create something new. But to try to make it as short as possible, and please tell me if I get anything wrong here, because I'm sure I'll miss a few things. But how it actually works is it's simple. The way we sell this to a salon is we first tell you about the program and what are all the great benefits of the program. So I'll jump into that, and then we'll jump into, of course, the pricing and how it works with the client. So what are the benefits? Why be part of Sustainable Salons? Well, the first part is we've got the world's best salon recycling program. You know, it's what and why is it the world's best? Because we're highly focused on all the material lines that come out of a salon itself. And now let me explain that separate to like a traditional recycle bin, right? You have your council recycling. What can you put in there as a hair salon? So you can probably put in there your cardboard and your paper. But a salon's got all this aluminium foil, which no councils at the time were taking, and still today they don't take much of your aluminium. You got all your colour tubes made from aluminium. They all see that as contaminated. They don't take that. All the plastics they see as contaminated, all the shampoo bottles, soft plastic, they don't take any of that too. When it comes to chemical waste, they don't take that. Hair, they don't take that, right? And the list just goes on. So all the salon waste couldn't even go through a recycle bin. So we had to invent a recycling service that was catered specifically for the salon environment. And that what's exciting about that is then you get all these separate bins that come inside the salon that we provide, and then you actually are putting your materials in those bins. And when we're collecting it back through our program, it's coming back as a single source. So when we get hair, it's just hair. It doesn't come with paper in it or cardboard, and if it does, we'll let you know about it, because all we want is hair in that bin, right?
Well, it's key to successful recovery is that single source, that source separation, because, you know, when things are contaminated, it's really, really hard on the other end to undo it.
Yeah.
And that's why you're probably seeing the recycling rates through like curbside and council cleanups are like the 15%, because you open your yellow bin
It's a contaminated mess. And they know it too. And it's like, but the council's like, how many more bins can we give you before you're just going to not like us, right? And the councils are getting better at putting maybe more bins, but
we're not.
But the reality is, I always say, council bins as well are designed for residential use, not small business. Small businesses have a very different waste stream than your home use. So that's another key part. So what's going back to your question, right? With inside our program and benefits is you've got this awesome recycling service, first of all. So not only visually for your staff, you can really feel like you're part of the solution by using these bins.
I think what's also really important to mention, I think sometimes people forget, is that on the other side, there's people handling everything by hand. And that's the key part. Also, it's one successful recovery, but it's also the safety of our people. So it's important that people know that correct recycling, following our education, is important for the recovery side of things, for you to make your impact together with us, but also the safety of our people.
And to barbers, we don't need those razors in the hair bins, right? Because that was even something I used to do. I remember as a hairdresser, you finish your razor cut and you used to put it straight into the bin. You didn't think about sometimes just there was someone at the other end. You know?
So you provide the bins for the core materials: hair, metals, paper, plastics.
Yep, we have a chemical bucket too. We have a razor tin. We have a sharps container. So that covers those bins themselves. Takes up about, I would say, 85 to 90%. And then there's other things that we don't have bins for, but we have solutions for. For example, like your ink cartridges, or you might have broken clippers. And again, we don't provide your whole bin because you're not going to have that many broken clippers or blow dryers, but we then show you how to recycle it through our stream. So we can still take all those other materials too. And what's exciting about that is, again, now you've got this awesome recycling service. So you're plugged into that. You can now tell all your clients about how it works. And that we're now part of this solution. What's really cool about this as well is we provide all this really good education for the salon too. So like a colour company does. So let's say one of the hair care companies will come in to introduce their new product. They'll bring in all this education. We copied that because hairdressers and beauticians and barbers and any small business really love education. So we provide on-demand education for any of your team members, which has now gone from a physical to a full digital experience. So we're gamifying that experience. And again, really important as a salon owner that we're not putting that burden onto you to keep educating the next generation coming in. That's our job, you know, so we take that really serious. What's really also good for a salon on top of this is you get all these amazing stories that come with all of the recycling. So every recycled material that we take from you is attached to this awesome either circularity of how we're turning the plastic into products, even hair into these awesome products that are even retailable. But not everything goes into the, let's say, back into the circular economy that they see. For example, the metal, even though it's going back into the circular economy, we're just selling it on the open market and then we're donating all those proceeds off to our charities, which is just really cool. So let me paint a picture for you. You're a consumer. You're thinking of getting a full head of foils. You're coming into a sustainable salon. By you just going through a sustainable salon, your waste has already contributed to half a meal to someone in need because we're selling that material and giving it straight to Oz Harvest or Kiwi Harvest, which creates this magical story, right? And just think about it, you're a customer just sitting there. I just had my foils and my waste is now going to that higher purpose. Why not? And it's being recycled. It's just awesome. So those things I always think about from a marketing perspective is, gosh, if I've got a salon, I've got these amazing stories to keep telling. So storytelling is critical in sustainable salons, is how to keep that story elevating itself.
And so that's for metals and paper, all the proceeds from metals and paper.
Anything that we can actually generate cash from by selling. So yeah, mainly it comes from the metals, the paper, but even the copper wires that come off all the blow dryers.
Sure.
Copper is highly valuable, and those wires, we could sell those all day long because, again, it's infinitely recyclable material.
And so all the proceeds from those sales actually go to Oz Harvest and Kiwi Harvest to support local communities as well.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And so with the plastics, I know you've mentioned before that we work within the circular economy when it comes to the plastics, and there's a couple scattered around here, but you also make plastic products from the materials that we collect. Ewelina, can you tell us more about some of these like plastic pathways that we're seeing here?
I'm just trying to think. The first time we did a really cool closed loop product was with Dresden Vision.
Dresden
Where
Vision.
we made, that was a cool collaboration where we call it the Shampoo collection, where our shampoo bottles went to making their black frames for their sunglasses or, reading glasses, but it's the frames. And that was a really cool circular collaboration with them because everything that we collect is local. Their production is local in Sydney. And so that was our first cool closed loop campaign with them. And then over the years, we've done a few more. We've made dog leashes with Hijack, which is really cool. And then we have a really close relationship with the team at Defy Design, where we make pot plants. Now we make combs. So I think we have a few of these on display. But those are really, really cool examples of how if someone didn't know where it came from, they're really good, high-quality products that our members can retail, and it comes with a cool story. So that's really what it's all about, is making that impact and bringing more things in the circular economy, proving that it's as good as any other comb out there. And that's really what it is. We also, through that, teach people that it's not just about recycling, or it's not recycled if you don't buy recycled. I think that's also a key message through our closed loop products we're trying to put out there in the community. It's one thing to be proud that you're a good recycler, but it's even better if you choose to buy recycle.
And I guess that's a little bit of a difference on some of these combs as well, where normally you see this is recyclable plastic, but this is proud in saying it's 100% recycled plastic.
Yeah,
That's
from
right.
our own material. Like, I think the story's just, even I get goosebumps. I'm like, we're actually doing it from our own waste right back to our customer, to retail back to their customer.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's unique in itself that we can even achieve
and
that.
each shampoo bottle actually weighs about the same as one of these combs. So it is actually one bottle makes one comb as well,
Yes.
which is actually really amazing.
Yeah.
That we can create that circular economy just through plastics.
And something, just to divert for a second, I was only explaining this to a general manager recently, is that when you're making a product, right, a shampoo, it probably costs you a couple of cents to buy that shampoo bottle. But by me collecting it and being able to recycle it and make a comb, we can probably put a 2,000% markup on that comb and sell it for $20. And that's still the same plastic.
Plastic.
It's just a comb now, and it's from waste. And what's the analogy I want to give there is it's showing the value of waste. Is that most people think, it's like, why bother? Who cares? Well, if the customer is going to pay $20 for that story from your waste, well, you might want to start to think about being in the business of the circular economy now, because actually collecting your material is of high value.
It's unreal. So we've talked about paper, we've talked about metals, we've talked about plastics. What happens to chemicals, Ewelina?
Yeah, well, going back before we started, we also, through our research, realized that chemicals either are landfilled or going down the drain. And there was really no small business solution, because all the chemical recycling happens in like big industrial sort of warehouses, we are the first, I think the only ones in Australia and New Zealand who collect we're like boutique collectors of chemicals. And so, but
It's a nice way to put it, boutique.
we are
chemical collectors.
boutique because it's a small
Make it sound
literage
sexy.
and no one else does it. But because of course we have our depots, all the small amounts become big literages. So we have those same sort of setups that the big industrial warehouses have, but of course, a hair salon, a beauty salon, it's impossible. And even if they did, they would never fill it up. It would take them years. So collectively, we make that amazing impact where before they never could. So that's how we've resolved that. So
And didn't you find it funny with chemicals when we were going down this path? It's like, when you collect chemicals, so we collected in these 20-litre buckets, and now we've moved it also down to a 6-litre bucket that for our smaller salons. But when you collect it, it comes back to the depot. We then put it in this large drum, which is an IBC, which is like 1,000 litres. If you just leave it, the chemicals in the water start to just separate organically. And what most people don't realize is most of your chemicals that you use, so all the hydrogen peroxide, even the shampoos, it's all around 90% water. Right? You actually don't think about it. It's like when you look at a lettuce, you don't realize that is actually sitting there's a 90, it's actually like, this is something crazy, like 93% it's water. But the same is with your shampoo and your peroxide and all that. So that water separates in the drum. But I just find that so remarkable that you're like, oh, it's actually happening organically. But then when we send it off, they centrifuge it, and then they separate the chemicals from the water, and then the water just gets used back into products again.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But let's get on to the hairiest of all the topics.
Ooh, the hair.
The hair.
Let's get hairy.
Let's get hairy. What happens to hair?
Yeah, hair is a passion project, isn't it?
I love this one. This is my favourite. I don't know, maybe because I'm a hairdresser, it's just like, honestly, can I give you first a funny story? So going back 2005, again, as I was saying, I was looking down at the floor wondering, what do you do with the hair? Where does the metal go? And I still remember saying to my boss at the time in the salon, I was like, I'm just going to start collecting all the hair to the side here, if that's okay. And they're like, oh, whatever. They didn't care. They're like, take the hair, you know. So here I am with these bags of hair after a week in the salon, like this big giant bag. And I take it home and I'm like, what to do with hair? And you got to laugh. We were living with 4 roommates at the time, and I was starting to think like, well, what is hair? It's an insulator, you know. And people wear fur, but they don't wear hair. And I was like, well, what goes in couches and insulation and things like that? I'm like, maybe hair could be just put inside the couch. So I literally started unzipping all the pillows and the couch, and I started filling up the couches full of hair.
And I was the roommate from hell.
Yeah. And I'm thinking,
Pretty
I
much.
want to see if anyone, don't tell them and see if they react. And will they know? Would you know what's behind the leather? Probably not. Okay, this wasn't a leather couch at the time. It was a fabric couch. And did I not realize how fabric works? There's little holes in there. So the hair starts prickling out. And I still remember them sitting on the couch. And I'm watching the movie and everyone's itching and everyone's just like, why is everyone itching? And I'm like, oh my God, I got to tell them that I've put hair in the couch. So that was a bad idea. Don't put hair in couches. It doesn't work. But it definitely started the journey of like, well, what's happening out there with hair? And there was this crazy story we were hearing out of America at the time where they're like, they're using hair to soak up oil spills. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. What is that, a hair boom? I'm like, has anyone done any research on that? And, you know, because Ewelina's like, you know, back to research, and there's no research. It's just this crazy idea. And I thought, geez, one day, if we ever get something off the ground, I'd love to research that and see if it actually does what it says it's doing. So fast forward to when we started the program, that was one of the first things we did in our R&D, because we do, everyone who knows us, we spend a lot in R&D at universities and we want to know everything, right? So we went to UTS and we found this amazing student, Rebecca at the time, who wanted to take it on as her thesis, is it? Like a thesis, like, or her studies. And basically we went and studied that. And long story short is it does work. Hair's this amazing sponge that loves to soak up oil, as we all know, because we use shampoo to take off the oil, right? So we're like, it does work. And then we could verify the product, and then we went into production producing hair booms. Today we have councils now purchasing them. They get used to help clean up within their water in their grease traps, so where the oils come out of homes and so forth. But and we've now also deployed them out at a few oil spills. And
For everyone listening at home, can you describe what a hair boom looks like?
easy. So as an Italian, this is easy. So for all Italians out there who make sausages,
All of them, I assume.
well, we all grew up making sausages in our garage, and then you had to watch them dangling from the roof. But basically, it's just like a sausage, right? And you're putting the hair inside a stocking, you could say. We have a special sock that it goes in, and
No
and
pretty way to describe it.
just this big long boom.
I think
sausage,
a
you could say,
fun
hair sausage.
fact is that hair is adsorbent with a D,
Yes.
not absorbent.
That is a good. We learnt that, didn't we? After a while, we're like, are we?
Well, that
spelling
was
this
part
correctly?
of the research with the science department. It's in the report. because when you think of a sponge, it absorbs everything. But the cool thing with hair, it adsorbs, and the difference is that the oil layers itself on top of the hair, which means there's a lot of opportunity to remove the oil. Just like shampoo removes the oil out of our hair, same thing happens in an oil spill with the hair booms. That's why there's also a lot of research in how can we recover the oil after we collect it.
Yeah.
So that when I found that out, I was like, that's mind-blowing.
We were
like
loving
how,
all this. We're like,
really
what?
how nature works, right?
So I came up with this idea because I was watching this show on TV where they were throwing, there's like these fishermen at sea where they throw these like hooks out to collect the fish, what do you call them, cages, and they would put it up through a pulley system, and that pulley would squeeze it through. And I thought, maybe when the booms come back, they can come through a pulley system to squeeze out all the oil. And what we realized is one hair boom, so 1.2 meters long, and it's probably a diameter of about 7 centimeters, 10 centimeters, could actually soak up 4 liters of crude oil, but you could squeeze out 3 liters. Now, when you do the maths, $5 billion of oil goes into the ocean each year. And if I was an oil company like BP, who's made this big disastrous oil spill, wouldn't you want to go collect it? Right?
That's money floating there.
It's just free money. Go get it, right? So, and I always like looking at it this way because I'm like, you don't want to sometimes fight the system, but just build better products to solve the problems of these systems, right? Because we all need still oil to make products that we all enjoy today. But if those things do happen, we need to know how to save planet Earth. And having an absorbent, I can't read, went to hairdressing school.
We'll put it in the subtitles, it's fine.
But we could actually claim it back, right? And I think there's something magical about that in the product itself. And
that's so different from how it's currently, how oil spills are currently cleaned up, because it's just chemical dispersants. They add more chemicals to the chemicals that they just put into the ocean.
Well, I couldn't believe that every boom we went and researched doesn't even absorb the oil. They just use it to contain the oil spill, and then they use chemicals to just bury it in the ocean. They just drop the chemicals so TV stops covering it. And you're like, wow, that's horrible.
They're literally sweeping it under the rug the entire time.
So this was just, look, hair booms, it still captures the attention of hairdressers and customers, and I think people just really love knowing that their hair can have this extra purpose in saving the planet.
But of course, a big part of that is because oil spills still happen.
Yeah, all the time.
Have hair booms been deployed in any oil spills? Can you talk about any of that?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the big ones that we got involved in, where we didn't actually get to deploy one of our booms on this, but we were locked and loaded ready, was the Mauritius oil spill. Big oil spill happened. All these people reached out to us. They needed our help. We jumped into action. DHL agreed to fly our booms in. We had thousands of booms ready to be deployed. The government of Mauritius kept blocking us. They wouldn't allow our booms in. Again, back to that. They just wanted the story to disappear. They didn't want groups like us turning up that was just going to create more media attention. But here we are fighting back and forth to try to get our booms in. Eventually, we knew we were just going to get blocked by this government, so we really threw in this amazing education to educate all the locals. We said, guys, you do not need us. You can do this yourself. All the salons. And did they act? They were out collecting all the hair from all the local salons. They're making booms. And what's glorious about watching this is community in action, saying, you know what, we're not waiting for you to tell us we can't do it, we can do it. And a great story came out of that with them just being part of the solution. But to come back to your question about, we did have an oil spill in Western Australia. This was an oil tanker that fell over, actually coming back from one of the mines, or going to the mines, I should say, and it actually crashed. All this oil spilt off into the river. It was called the Kirkolocka Station, as they are, these massive stations out there. And basically, one of our members saw a story happen on Facebook saying, we need help, oil spills just come into our river, and it's going to destroy our local community. And I love community in action from one of our members. Text message gets to us, and Ewelina and I just jumped into action. And long story short, within probably 48 hours, we had a few thousand booms deployed from Sydney all the way off to the Kirkalocka station in WA. Our friends at Main Freight helped us get it there in record speed, and we got to be first on the scene and help clean up that whole oil spill and really demonstrate our product in a real world environment.
Unbelievable.
That was cool.
Magical.
That's all from hair in stockings.
Yeah. And it's just as members of Sustainable Salons to know that you get to be part of that.
Don't you want to be part of that?
And what else are you doing with your hair, right? I said to Salons, like, let it be part of this future. You know, this is just one simple thing. And we've evolved from there too. It's not just hair booms now.
What else are you making?
Well, the next one that really started capturing our attention is when you study hair, you start to realize, well, what is hair? And just to break it down a little bit is it's 50% carbon, loads of nutrients. It's got sulfur in there and so forth. But you start to realize you've got all the ingredients to actually be really beneficial in our soil. But you can't just put hair in compost. It doesn't work. It could take hundreds of years to break down. Like, it will work, but it'll just take forever.
So all of that hair that I've cut into my mum's roses is not going to do anything?
It just in little bits it will be okay, but when you start dealing with volume, no, it will just sit there.
Got it.
It'll just sit there forever. So hair's extremely strong material. So we met this lady. Her name's Jackie. She now works with us, and we partner with her on this amazing product called Soils Alive, which is now the first ever soil treatment made from human hair. So what do we actually do? We send the hair from the salon through a special process that actually gets it ready for Jackie, that then puts it in a heated composted process, which allows the nutrients then to release. And then through that process, we can create Soils Alive. And now you've got basically a high-grade fertilizer for your plants made from human hair. Simple.
And what is it normally made of? Like, what's...
Chemicals. Usually most fertilizers are just chemical based, so that's really what fertilizer means. It's chemicals.
Right.
So now we're just using more organic materials to make it an organic way. So you actually shouldn't use the word
materials as
Funny,
well.
You shouldn't use the word fertilizer because that represents chemicals. That's why we call it a soil treatment, but it's the same as a fertilizer.
And so these are all the chemicals like nitrogen, potassium, plus the carbon. And so they go through all of this processing to actually make it into a soil treatment.
Yeah, it takes about 3 months, and now it's great. Salons can sell that product back to their customers. So if you've got customers that love their plants, indoor plants, you know, hence the reason why we've got a little a self-watering pot, you know. But yeah, you can have the whole circular economy in action using the waste. And again, it just shows the power of, like, once you research something, especially if it's organic, it probably has a second life on this planet. You just got to start researching what it is. But again, it just kept evolving from there. And if I just got one more, because I could actually go on a few more, is we then met another gentleman who, his name is Amardeep, who called us up and says, who's a Sikh, and he says, hair in my culture is precious, but I love studying it, and I see you guys love collecting it. I think I'm onto some pretty remarkable research. I'm like, well, what's that? He's like, well, I think I can turn hair into graphite. And we're like, so what?
So why should people care about graphite?
Why should you care about graphite? Graphite is, we all, if you
like
look it up,
HB pencils from school and stuff, right?
Yeah, well, that's graphite. But graphite is actually also this amazing material that can be a future resource that makes things that's not only highly durable, it's just an amazing material that can be formed into just about anything that we're seeing today to produce products like lightweight, as strong as steel. It can even play a conductor system with inside your battery to help power your future battery to your car. It could be part of your OLED display. It's infinite. For anyone listening, go research graphite, and you start to realize, holy crap, why are we not making a lot of graphite, right? And you realize it's just very expensive to make. Right. But funny enough, now that we know we can make graphite from hair, so we've got 3 papers published through Amardeep now to prove it, the theory of it, which got caught up in a lot of science magazines. But basically now people now can realize, oh my God, this is possible. So we're going to extend that research with him. We're going to continue it, and we're going to prove out a proof of concept of the product, and hopefully one day we'll be powering your mobile phone using human hair.
So what you're saying is I should put my hair into the USB charging port of my phone?
Strand by strand.
Strand by strand.
I tell everyone, you're not going to open up your battery and see strands of your neighbour's hair in there. No, he literally pulverizes the hair. You're actually talking about nano dot technology. So this is, your eye cannot get to this layer.
So, but we've talked about hair, metals, paper, plastics, chemicals, tools, e-waste. Everything that a salon creates is now being recovered, and there's an end of life for every single part of that.
Yeah.
That's an absolutely incredible story.
Yeah. The way I said it to Scott Morrison once, because I got to go to Canberra a few times, and we actually we service the salon in Canberra. So all the politicians, we actually collect in Parliament. Sorry, we collect all their hair in Parliament House, and I always make a few jokes when I'm down there. I'm like, you make sure you're on the right side of history. I'll do voodoo on your, with your hair.
We have your DNA now.
And I remember Scott Morrison saying to me, because he kind of knew our program, and he's just like, "Oh, what are you, that greenie that does all the recycling?" I said, "Do you call them miners greenies?" I said, "We're just above ground miners." Right? It's just resources, mate. And I think when I said it like that, they're like, "Oh, I see what you guys are doing. Good on you." And it really changed very quickly. And I said, "Yeah, guys, why would you diss it? Makes sense, doesn't it? We're stimulating manufacturing. We're turning waste into resources. Clients love it. Salons love it. And then after that, they're like, yeah, I think they get it. And I think we've, especially in the whole political stream now, because a lot of them know what we do, they're kind of intrigued by it because, again, they're all trying to get behind the circular economy too.
So it's incredible to hear about all the materials, the hair, metals, paper, plastics, what happens to them, the fact that they don't go to landfill, and there's a huge circular economy for it. So we've talked about planet. We've talked about the people through all of the support through Oz Harvest and Kiwi Harvest. We haven't really touched on the profit. That's another pillar, first of all.
Yeah.
Profit's sometimes a bit of a dirty word, so I'd love for you to navigate that a little bit.
Green companies shouldn't make money. We should all be poor.
Sustainability should be free. What's that about?
I'm like,
so I'd love to hear, what does Sustainable Salons do to help drive profit?
Yeah, it's a really good question.
Our core customers are businesses, so we understand that one thing, it's about doing good, but if no one knows about it, what's the point? Right? So what we do is we provide our members with marketing in the form of merchandise, visual merchandise, to help them communicate the stories, all the cool things that happen, behind the bins. We provide them also with a digital merch kit, so even as far as pre-written press releases, because we want them to be the local hero, and local papers love hearing those stories. So again, we make it really easy and convenient for them to market their sustainability credentials with us, because we want them to attract like-minded customers into their business. So merch kits, digital. What else do we do?
What kind of stuff do salons get in their merch kit that actually helps them promote the fact that they're a sustainable salon?
Yeah, it's a whole range of things. So we break this down into different areas. First, I would say one of the most important is always your front window sticker, right? Because as people are walking past your business, it's so important that they can recognize what they're about to walk into. Again, I know a lot of salons will still say, I want it nice and clean and so forth, and I respect that. But as consumers walking past, some of that can scare off a lot of consumers too. You've got to make sure that they know what they're entering. So making sure, even if it's very you can make it very subtle and so forth. So we care about that front experience. As you enter the business, we've got everything from magazines like Green Chair newspapers that we provide that tell the whole story of sustainable salons. So you could be sitting waiting to get your hair done. You can start to read about the materials and where they're going to end up, your hair, your chemicals and so forth. Then we've got material that sits on the front counter as well. So let's say you've just had your experience and you're just exiting and you're about to pay now your $3 sustainable salon fee. At least now it can point to why. Where's it going? What are you doing with that? It's really important because I know as a consumer, I want to know, and not always the hairdresser remembers to tell you. So having that around the salon is critical. And we even had a lot of success with having mirror stickers. Like as you're getting your hair done, and it would just prompt saying, ask me where your hair goes. And a lot of salons would say to us, oh, that really works. People are like, where does my hair go? And then you get to tell the story. So these are all, I think, critical inside the space for marketing. But It doesn't.
I was going to touch back on the front window part. I think what is really good for our community to know is that we do a lot of marketing, and through our marketing efforts, the brand name Sustainable Salons is associated with beauty and sustainability. So by our members putting that out there, because our logo is recognizable now, that's how people find you. They've perhaps maybe read an article or landed on our website or did a ponytail donation. So we see it as our duty to market our entire network, and for a member the easiest thing you can do is put that sticker out there, because people are like, oh yeah, they're part of that movement.
Yeah.
So I think that's why that window sticker is so important. And I know a lot of our salons are moving away and
like,
are
no
a bit
more
cleaner.
stickers, no more things.
But
I
that's
get
the
it.
thing I really want them to remember is like, yes, you might want a clean space, but don't forget about all of this real estate that and possibly new customers, like-minded, value alike customers that you might be missing out on just because you don't want to put a sticker on. Just maybe try it.
Yeah.
And you know what's really great today is, and just how far this has grown, is our directory, right? So we knew that consumers were going to start to look for you. So we knew this was going to be a journey. So about 7 years ago, we started building out a directory. So you signed up to us, you got loaded onto a directory, and if someone came to our website, they could find you. This has grown so much now. There are literally 10,000 plus consumers looking for sustainable salons each month now, which has turned us into the #1 directory in the hair and beauty industry, which is just crazy. Just showing you the power of the next generation and what they're looking for. And going back to that profit pillar, there is millions, literally, like I think last we counted on this was around $15 million just last year alone went through Sustainable Salons through our directory. So you as a salon owner are probably seeing, and we're only counting their first visit. If you're getting them to come back, well, we don't count for that. You've got the customer, right? And you as a business, you're talking in excess of probably $15,000 to $30,000 of new business that comes to you just for signing up.
Yeah.
And what I try to remind business owners is, well, what are you in the business to do? Make money? Well, let us help you along that journey, because that next gen is looking for you. And if you're not doing it, just like that cafe analogy I was giving, well, they're going to choose the business next to it that is doing it, that does care. And what's really interesting about Sustainable Salons today is that we've, I think, crossed that big curve about the fear of now adding sustainability into your business. So as a profit pillar now, you can now be confident, you know this is good for business. And not only that, what we've also found in this profit pillar is that now you're trying to find staff. Well, what do you think staff want? Who do they want to work for? And we're encouraging, because we're hearing more and more that actually staff are now turning up to salons because they're sustainable salons. They want to work for a sustainable salon. They love that you're fashion orientated, but they're like, you also got to have my values in here too, because I don't want to come in here and we're just landfilling everything.
Yeah.
You know, so
It's not worth it.
these are critical for your profit pillar, because you need more staff to make more profit within your business. So that's one of the key areas that they can make money. Another key area is actually in our rewards program. Our rewards program, so how it works is just by every client that comes through your business, you earn a reward point. Those points then can be redeemed on our reward store. And what do we put on there? We only put sustainably minded products. So you might want to offset your cleaning or foil or what we call your essentials. So you just want to see a direct saving back into your business. So signing up to us means that you don't have to pay for foil anymore. There's $2,000 or $3,000 a year off, that you're saving. But we also started adding retailable items, because maybe you want to be more savvy and make money. So like we were saying before, like with combs, you can actually get the comb back and then sell it for $20. So you literally got it for free and you're selling it for $20, and now you're making tens of thousands of dollars by using the reward store correctly on a retail sense. So we're always coming back to that profit pillar, guys, and saying to our members, how do you actually really use our program to its maximum to really make it good for business? And again, that profit pillar we should not be afraid of. We're in business to make money. And one of the funny ways I always like to put this, because probably 80% of the people that sign up to Sustainable Salons, they're liberal boss owners. People think they're all green people like this. No, they're liberal boss owners. They're signing up because they now know it's good for business. Which, to be honest, I always say to them, that's my proudest moment, because if we're going to shift this world, we've got to get the other side of the fence to also understand about how they can be on the right side of history too. And the only way you can do that is you've got to make it good for business. Because I haven't met a Liberal person today that says to me, I don't want to make money. So all I got to do is figure out how to bring them an awesome product that saves the planet, that makes them money.
And for every dollar that goes into a sustainable salon, you know that the product on the other side isn't getting landfilled.
Yeah.
Right.
It means every time they purchase something on the reward store, they're not buying the dirty cleaner, they're buying the eco cleaner. So it
Yeah.
actually goes through every single aspect. And this actually really goes back to the actual ecosystem effect of that creating positive impact as well. It's like, yes, you're making money, but it actually turns out that every single part of it has a positive underlying impact behind what you do. And it also sounds like there's all the digital touch points that we have, like Reward Store and the directory and all of the press releases and all the digital merch. But we also have all those physical touch points that the consumer also needs to see.
Yeah.
Because when someone does look up something on the salon directory and they go visit the salon and there's no evidence of them being a sustainable salon, they'll be like, are they even a sustainable salon?
Yeah.
Doesn't even look like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where that window sticker can become really powerful, because it ties their search that they've done on their mobile the first thing they woke up
Yeah.
to actually seeing it in action on the other side.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Incredible.
And you know, the really cool thing about sustainable salons I hear a lot is we're also become kitchen talk and barbecue talk, right? Because if you're sitting down, you're getting your hair cut, and all of a sudden the hairdresser's like, your hair's going to clean up an oil spill. You're like, say what? My hair's going where? And you're like, what happens is they go home and they're like, you wouldn't believe the story I heard today. My hair cut, and they're cleaning up an oil spill. And it becomes this ripple effect. And that's been one of the most powerful things of sustainable salons, is it creates these stories-telling activities that you kind of take home that you're kind of proud of. And I'm like, that's a really, I think, important part of when you're developing any product is can you get people to want to talk about it after you? So it's not always you selling it, it's they're actually starting to sell it. And it's just great.
So we know we can do all of this in Australia. How does it work in New Zealand as well? Because New Zealand is a very, very different beast from Australia. First of all, 2 islands. How does Sustainable Salons work in New Zealand? Where did you choose to set up and why?
Well,
Trying to think back, actually, how that's
in
done.
stages, and again, key for us in New Zealand were partnerships, collaborations with local people, local organizations, because that's really the key of the program.
And it's key to the New Zealand
supporting-
hearts as well. And I think it's to anyone as well, is the one thing the New Zealanders really wanted our program. They were like, how do we do this? But we also knew the minute we get there, they don't want to know it's coming to Australia.
No way.
No New Zealanders like, screw those Aussies, they would say, no way. And I was like,
Sometimes
yeah,
in
I
Australia,
respect
we
that.
don't want it to go across the border.
Yeah, and as
Queensland.
sustainability people are like, no, we want to support local initiatives of New Zealand. Jobs in New Zealand, we want the benefits to stay in New Zealand.
Is that localism?
Yeah, it's all about localism, exactly. Because that's what sustainability is about, is as local as you can do it.
I think that's the best way to put it. It's the way we run New Zealand is very similar to Australia, and the challenge is to have partners and people that are local, and it's finding out the solutions and the research locally. So
New Zealanders are so much nicer than Australians. I've realised that. Like, you get over there, they're so nice, like really nice. Can I tell one funny story as well? Like, and this just demonstrates just how lovely Kiwis are. So we're fully established in Auckland. And that was running and humming along, and then we were getting shout outs from Wellington, Christchurch, Dunedin, Queenstown, and of course we love Queenstown. We're like, we've got to be servicing the 5 salons in Queenstown, right? So I was like, oh my god! So we're like,
Business trip.
yeah, business trip, yeah. And I remember saying to Ewelina, well, the most obvious place is the second biggest city in New Zealand is Wellington. So we were making a few trips to Wellington to start thinking about the depot and how we're going to set it all up. And what happened during that time was the Christchurch earthquake happened. And it was devastating, I remember. Like, it was just this horrible thing to watch, and so many lives getting upended and so forth. And we're just thinking, God damn, how can we help? Is there anything we can do here? And then I still remember a salon saying to me is are you guys coming to Christchurch? And I said, hell yeah, we'll figure out how to build a service and we'll get there at some point. Just give us time. But they're like, we need jobs. People are leaving. Like, people were literally upending their lives because like, we're moving to Auckland. We can't stay here. And I said to Ewelina, I think we need to put the depot in Christchurch. It's going to cost us a lot more. It's going to not be good for business. Usually one of those decisions. You're like, and I said, but what are the Wellington salons going to think? So we started talking to all the Wellington salons and saying, look, guys, I know we told you we were going to do Wellington, but we're actually going to start sending, again, it's not maybe the perfect environmental thing here. We're going to be sending material from Wellington to Christchurch because they need jobs, they need job security right now, and we think this is the right decision. And to be honest, the Kiwis just embraced that. They said, we totally get it. So we built the depot in Christchurch with our partners there at Kilmarnock. And honestly, I think it did wonders for our business. More people signed up. More people wanted to be part of the solution to help Christchurch. And that was a magical moment. And you're like, we made the right decision at the right time. And we've had a great relationship ever since with our partners in Christchurch.
And like you said, when you do good, it's good for business.
It is.
It keeps happening.
It just, you know it's right in your heart. You got to make those decisions. And look, I'm just happy we did.
We've learned a lot through our local, connections. Because in Auckland we partner with Eco Matters, and that's the key part in better business. It's not just about you. It is really about that stakeholder relationship, creating the win-win for everyone and learning from each other and doing it together. And that's really, I feel like, a big part of our success is being able to be vulnerable and saying, hey, we need help. And over all these years, so many people are so happy to help and to join. So I think that's been a key part of getting New Zealand off the ground and getting them part of this movement.
Yeah, big time. It's as they say, like, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go together.
See, I wonder if Melbourne would have thought the same about Sydney. That would have been like, no, wait, screw them, let's stay in here. You're like, all right, I'm sorry.
Paul, Ewelina, thank you so much for talking through how the Sustainable Salons program works, or what happens to all this incredible material, and how you've worked through New Zealand as well, which is a completely different beast. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul and Ewelina, for talking us through how the Sustainable Salons program works, how you've been able to launch it into New Zealand, and what you do with all of these magical materials. In the next episode, we'll talk about the future of Sustainable Salons.